Komura is this hopelessly down bad guy who's secretly obsessed with a girl who can barely see 2 feet ahead of her. Every time she forgets her glasses, he swoops in like it's his destiny, acting all helpful just so he can flirt way above his skill level and try to riz her up and finally touch some grass. The story begins on a random morning when the teacher decides to randomly shuffle the classroom seating layout, and somehow Komura gets placed right next to the girl he's been secretly obsessed with since forever. Mia, the cute, soft-spoken menace whose eyesight is so bad, she basically views life in 144p. The moment he sits down, she warns him not to panic at her angry face, because she's actually just squinting her eyes just hard enough to see atoms. Komura almost collapses because this is the first time she has spoken directly to him. His brain instantly jumps to, wow, we're basically soulmates now. She asks him where her history textbook is, and this socially fragile boy malfunctions like you when your crush walks by. Instead of helping her search, he just hands her his own book. Mia then shifts her chair closer to his as she wanted to share it, and Komura's entire nervous system just blue screens. Still trembling, he slides the book to her. She buries her whole face into the pages because that's the only way she can read, and Komura immediately decides that he'll frame this book in his future museum dedicated to moments she accidentally touched my stuff. Then, out of nowhere, Mia gets so close to his face that he could count her eyelashes, because she couldn't see him, and asks who he is. After he stutters out Komura, she casually thanks him and dives back into the book, leaving our boy sitting there with all his emotional stability gone. After class, Komura heads to the lockers where he finds Mia struggling with her shoes. Turns out she accidentally grabbed his shoes because she thought they looked like hers. This girl's vision is running on Minecraft's lowest settings, and Komura was just happy she touched something that belongs to him. Her friends tried to help earlier, but she insisted she was fine. Spoiler, she absolutely wasn't. She wandered around, opened random lockers, and took the first pair of shoes that felt right, which happened to be Komura's. She returns them with an apology, and Komura helps her find her actual locker. Her own shoes even had a frog sitting on them, and this idiot somehow earlier thought the frog was part of the design. He gently removes the frog, hands her the shoes, and notices that she can't even tie her laces properly. He activates full simp mode and ties them while aggressively trying not to stare at her thighs like a degenerate. Mia thanks him, then suddenly leans in close again, saying she wants to get a good look at his face so she won't forget it. Komura feels butterflies, fireworks, and probably early onset heart failure, but she can't see anything anyway, so she just says she'll try again tomorrow. That night, Komura was thrilled and prays that she forgets her glasses again so he can keep being her loyal seeing eye simp. Next morning, he overhears her saying her glasses broke. Komura silently high-fives Destiny, but then it's PE class and they had to play dodgeball. Mia insists on playing despite not being able to see even the ground. Komura shields her like a heroic meat shield, and suddenly she hugs him from behind to use him as a living armor panel, leaving him frozen on spot, and he gets knocked out instantly. Later, Mia looked like she was reading, but she was actually asleep with her face buried in the book. The teacher calls her out, but Komura refuses to touch her to wake her up, thinking she is some weak-eyed goddess and my hands are unworthy, so he lies that she forgot her glasses and can't see unless she sticks her face in the book. After a while she wakes up, sees a blurry blob, and calls him Dad. Komura almost ascends to heaven after being called Daddy, which you could never, but she doesn't stop there. She falls asleep on his shoulder, giving him the climax, until the teacher bonks her awake and ruins Komura's moment of glory. Next day, Mia wasn't wearing her glasses again. Smiling softly, Komura blushes like a freshly boiled tomato. Then he realizes she's actually wearing contacts and she can actually see him now. R.I.P. his tiny dreams, just like his tiny leave it. She comes close to him, making him blush, and finally says that now she knows how he looks like. Later next day, Mia was on lunch duty with no glasses, and chaos immediately begins. She spills stew everywhere but refuses to surrender the ladle. Komura can't help staring because she looks like a cute little housewife in an apron. The school's resident potato-shaped kid asks for extra meat, and Mia misreads everything and gives him potatoes instead, then accidentally gives him actual meat because to her they both look identical. Finally she realizes that lunch duty is really difficult as she herself got hungry. When she and Komura finally sit down to eat, she gives him a bowl and whispers that she saved all the meat especially for him. Komura tears up inside from sheer joy until he looks down and sees it's literally a mountain of potatoes. A few days later, she again forgot her glasses, so she tries wearing contacts again but gives up halfway because they float like UFOs in her eyes. Komura notices her watery eyes and hands her a tissue like some dramatic anime prince. Next morning, she was wearing her glasses but still squinting. Komura panics, thinking what happened to her, and wonders if he messed up somehow. She tells him that her glasses are all fogged up. Right then, Takeda walks in with foggy glasses too, and Mia freaks out thinking a fat stranger entered the classroom, but Komura gently reminds her that's just their classmate Takeda. Mia explains that she didn't recognize Takeda earlier because she couldn't see his eyes, which makes her wonder if other people can't recognize him either. Komura tells her not to worry, but she straight up says she only cares about recognizing him. This one sentence sends Komura's soul on a round-trip cruise past the Milky Way because for the first time, he thinks he might actually have a chance instead of dying alone like me. A moment later, Mia asks for his contact info. Komura hands it over faster than a guy claiming a free nitro drop. She says she forgets her glasses all the time and might need his help, so it's better if she can reach him directly. Komura thinks she should rely on her other friends, but Mie tells him she's embarrassed to ask anyone else. She only feels comfortable depending on him. At this point, Komura's brain and pants both were about to explode from emotional overload. A few days later, Komura wakes up to a text from Mie asking him to come to the station. He jumps out of bed like a man possessed and sprints there without brushing his teeth. When he finds her, she's standing alone on the walkway, explaining she left her glasses on the train and can't see anything except the void she wants him to fill up. She says she still wants to go somewhere important and needs Komura to escort her. That's when Komura realizes this might actually count as a date. Bro was shocked because he genuinely believed he was destined to be virgin his whole life. When he agrees, Mie suddenly grabs his hand. Komura freezes because that's the same hand he commits crimes against humanity with. They walk together, fingers interlocked, and she leads him to a bakery because she wanted a special weekend-only cake. She can't find the cake even though it's right next to her, and she gets visibly sad. Komura, in full simp mode, offers to feed her. She immediately opens her mouth like a baby bird waiting for dessert, and Komura realizes he might have taken this too far, but Mie doesn't care about limits anyway. After their cake moment, Mie takes him to the glasses shop to pick up the new pair she ordered. She puts them on and suddenly sees the world in HD. Meanwhile, Komura looks at his hand like he just lost custody rights. He considers chopping it off and freezing it as a memorial but decides not to because, well, night activities. As he's about to leave, Mie grabs his hand again and asks if he's in a hurry. He says no, and she says she wants to walk around a bit since she can finally see his face clearly making him blush. They spend the day exploring the town, and when he drops her off at her house, he watches her walk away wondering if the whole day was just a rom-com fever dream. Meanwhile, Mie thinks Komura is genuinely sweet since he never once seemed annoyed. She's also glad she finally got her glasses, until she realizes she spent the entire time looking at him. Next day at school, Komura finds Mie wearing a mask, and her glasses were fogged up. She says she has a cold, but Komura still thinks she looks adorable even in fogged-up potato mode. Then she overhears some boys teasing Takeda for looking dumb in a mask and immediately gets self-conscious. She removes her glasses and tells Komura she forgot them at home, even though she was holding them. After school, Komura finds Mie crouching on the sidewalk meowing at what she thinks is a cat. He almost pulls out his phone to record 4K goon material but stops himself. Then he notices she's actually meowing at a plastic bag. She complains that the cat isn't meowing back, so Komura sneaks behind her and meows to keep up the fantasy. Mie starts petting the plastic bag, and when Komura leans close, she starts petting him too. A gust of wind sends the bag flying, and she concludes that Komura came here to play with the cat together. Next day, Komura walks into class and loses his soul when he sees the school's top-tier heartthrob, Azuma, helping Mie find her book. Azuma places his hand on Mie's hand, and Komura mentally packs his bags because he thinks it's over for him now, thinking all he has got now is his right hand. But then Mie calls Azuma by Komura's name, and our boy suddenly resurrects from emotional death. Azuma gently corrects her, and Mie panics, apologizing because she's only this casual with Komura. Komura ascends spiritually and gains peak plot god's blessings. The following day, Mie forgets her glasses again, and her friends are terrified as she'll permanently wrinkle her forehead from squinting. Komura arrives and tries to greet her, and she looks up at him with giant sparkly anime eyes, making his soul leave his body. He's floating in heaven until she starts squinting again. She explains she was trying not to furrow her brows but couldn't see anything, so she gave up and went back to squint mode. She casually greets Komura afterward, not realizing he would trade his entire bloodline just to see her non-squinted eyes for one more second. The next day, Mie tells Komura she kept losing a word game battle against Asuka and wants to practice with him so she can finally beat her. Komura, already flustered like a malfunctioning toaster, starts giving her easy words. Mie immediately realizes he's babying her and gets fired up, demanding he play her properly so she can improve. Komura, the softest man alive, decides to show his dominance. After a few chaotic rounds, Mie gets stuck on the letter K and blurts out Komura-kun. She blushes because it counts as a loss, while Komura was busy thinking his hands are going to work extra hard tonight because she basically said his name like it was a confession. Later, they're on cleaning duty when Komura spots a cockroach creeping dangerously close to Mie. She doesn't notice it because, well, she forgot her glasses again. Komura tries to lure her toward him so she won't panic, but she doesn't know when to stop and accidentally plants her face into his chest, frying his brain like a cheap circuit board. Another girl notices the roach and screams, causing Mie to launch herself straight into Komura's arms, causing Komura to go into emotional coma internally. Later, on a rainy morning, Komura walks into class, and Mie says she forgot her glasses again, even though they're sitting on top of her head. When he gently points it out, she panics and drops them. Komura snatches them midair, and Mie asks him to put them on her. He gets flustered as he slowly raises his hands to her face, and when her hair brushes his fingers, he just believes that his purpose in life is complete. The next day, Mie picks up a letter she found on the floor and asks Komura to read it. It's addressed to Azuma. Komura also sees the heart-shaped seal and immediately freaks out because it's obviously a love letter. When Mie realizes it's for Azuma, she takes it innocently and walks straight into class to hand it to him personally, which to everyone else looked like a dramatic love confession. Seeing this, Komura's soul leaves his body. Girls immediately start gossiping, asking Mie if she likes Azuma. Mie casually says, yeah, meaning Mia he's cool, but everyone interprets it as, yes I love him with my whole heart. Azuma excuses himself, so Komura follows him to clear up the misunderstanding. Instead, he finds Azuma chuckling at the letter like he just won the lottery. Komura's single working brain cell cannot compute what's happening. Back in class, all the girls were cheering for Mia and Azuma, which makes Komura want to evaporate. Later, Komura suddenly realizes that Azuma is handsome, smart, athletic, basically everything Komura is not, and wonders if Mia might actually like him. The thought crushes him. Mia notices his depressed expression and asks if he's okay, snapping him out of his misery. He asks what she thinks of Azuma, and she gets confused why everyone keeps asking. She says she doesn't get it, but if people were shipping her with someone, Komura would make more sense because she's way more attached to him and she genuinely likes him. These words echo in Komura's skull like holy scriptures, and his generations would remember it. Then Azuma returns and hands Mia a reply letter, which sends Komura into another panic attack. Since she can't read without glasses, she gives it to Komura to read, pouring Himalayan salt straight into his emotional wounds. He opens it slowly, bracing for heartbreak, only to see, Komura likes you too, Mia. Azuma explains to the class that Mia accidentally delivered someone else's love letter to him, so he wrote a goofy reply to mess with them. Komura stares in shock while Mia innocently asks what the letter said. He lies and says it just says he thanked her for delivering it. On a cold day, Komura goes to a vending machine for coffee and was startled to find Mia there. She tells him she wants warm cocoa but can't see the buttons. She presses a button and accidentally gets a bitter coffee. She spits it out instantly and hands it to Komura because she doesn't drink it. Komura, the simp boss, starts blushing because her lips touch the can and it would be an indirect kiss. He treats it like a sacred relic and refuses to drink from it. A few days later, Komura was sprinting to school and sees Mia also running late without her glasses. They catch their breath at the crossing and Komura sees her hair messy, her clothes disheveled, and her skirt flipped up, exposing those drumsticks. He panics and looks away like a guilty monk. He tells her to fix her clothes, and because she can't see him clearly, she doesn't realize it's Komura. She even says she doesn't want Komura to see her like this, instantly nuking his soul. Later, Komura carries Mia to the infirmary because she hurt her leg. Meanwhile, he was also struggling for survival from being so close to her. Mia apologizes for making Komura pull her around because she's embarrassed she gained a little weight. Meanwhile, Komura thinks she literally weighs less than his emotional stress and finds her reaction adorable. At the infirmary, Komura tells her to lean on the wall while he grabs a chair. But since she's operating on blind mode, she steps onto the scale by accident. Komura sees the number and immediately blurts out, "You're not heavy at all." Mia turns redder than a stop sign and begs him to erase that memory forever. A few days later, Komura watches her stretch on her toes trying to pin a paper on the classroom board. He curses the teacher for assigning her something only NBA players can reach. He tries helping but, unfortunately, he too is a proud member of Short King Nation and can't reach either. Azuma swoops in and does it effortlessly, and Mia thanks him. Komura wishes for a growth spurt, but then Mia says she likes his height because it makes looking at his face easier. Komura immediately prays to plot god that he never grows again. Later, he finds Mia tearing up while reading. Turns out she was studying with friends, but couldn't read a single sentence, and ends up laughing so hard that she cried. Komura was relieved that her tears were good tears, but also regrets missing the moment because she probably looked like the cutest malfunctioning blind robot. Then she giggles softly, and that tiny laugh feeds Komura's whole soul for the day. Later, some girls point at a heart-shaped cloud. Mia tries to see it but can't see anything beyond the blur. Komura catches her sad expression, snaps a pic of the cloud, and sends it to her that night. She gushes over it, and he goes to sleep smiling like a lucky idiot. Next day, Somiya shows up with Mia's forgotten glasses and, for some reason, forces Komura to try them on. The specs instantly destroys his depth perception, and he stumbles, pinning Somiya to the wall like he's trying out for a romance drama poster photo shoot. Just like you know the plot god had something else in mind, and Mia walks in, sees this, and shoves Komura away like he's out here collecting girlfriends. Later that week, Mia arrives wearing her glasses again. Komura feels depressed because she won't need him as much today, but also relieved because the poor guy's heart might combust if he keeps getting this close. But then he forgets his book and ends up needing her help. She scoots her desk next to his, and blushes when she realizes that this is their first time sharing space when she can actually see him, and Komura turns pink too. Later on the weekend, Komura helps her pick out an extra pair of glasses. Since she can't see herself in the sample lenses, she asks him to choose which frames suit her. She tries on pair after pair, and Komura's brain melts from how cute she looks in every single one. He tries giving real feedback, but she leans too close and his entire nervous system crashes. He ends up telling her the truth that she looks good regardless. She shyly chooses a duplicate of her usual pair. Next day, she admits that she slept with her new glasses on and smashed them. Later, Komura goes grocery shopping and sees Valentine's decorations. He wishes Mia would give him chocolates on Valentine's Day. Just right then she appears behind him like she spawned from the ceiling. She was wearing a long coat, looking so adorable that Komura almost forgets how to breathe. She forgot her glasses again but confidently claims that she knows the area. Then she asks him what he wants from her, because she heard him mumbling. Komura panics like he's on trial for romantic crime. She wonders why everything is red, and he silently thanks plot god for giving him the cutest clueless girl girl in existence. Inside the supermarket, she says she's buying mayonnaise while Komura grabs ketchup, and he nearly passes out because it feels like they're a married couple doing groceries. But then she wanders into a Valentine-themed chocolate section. She asks him again what he wants, and he desperately tries to distract her by pointing at another stall. Bro is rejecting Plot God's blessings for real. He panics, grabs a box, and drags her away, only to realize he's holding her hand. She comments that his hand is warm and perfect for making chocolates. He asks if she's making chocolates, and she casually says yes because Valentine's Day is coming up. She already knew, but only now realizes the whole store was decorated for Valentine's. Komura tries one last time to distract Mie from the Valentine doom, but she finally catches on and realizes that he wants chocolates from her. Komura braces for rejection like he's about to get hit with a disappointment like he is, but instead, Mie calmly says that she was planning to give chocolates to all her friends anyway and she'll make an extra one for him. Komura immediately understands she sees him as just a friend, but honestly, this man is so down bad he'll take any title she gives him, including friendly neighborhood doormat. On February 14th, Komura mentally prepares himself. He tells his heart to stay calm. They're just friends. Friends are fine. Then Mie walks over to give him chocolates and discovers her bag is completely empty. Komura tells her it's okay, but Mie sits down looking like she just failed the main quest. Komura's brain starts chanting, confess, confess, confess. Before he can even breathe, Mie asks him if he's free after school. After class, she tells him she can't leave him out because he's her friend too, so she wants to make it up to him. Then she drops the bomb. She'll grant him one wish. Anything he wants. Komura immediately panics because the last time someone told him anything, he froze harder than Windows XP. He tries to confess, says he wants to speak honestly, but the words get stuck somewhere between his lungs and dignity. Then she pulls a single chocolate from her pocket, one she saved for herself, and gives it to him. Komura vows with holy determination that he'll confess by next year. That night, Mie checks her weight and freaks out because it went up. She realizes that chocolates are DLC that come with hidden debuffs. A month later, it's White Day. Komura prepares to return chocolates to Mie, but when she shows up, she looks like she had Greek yogurt and sadness for breakfast. She says she ate all her Valentine chocolates and is now in her 2 steps ahead arc, meaning she's banning herself from sweets. Komura realizes that he can't give her his chocolates now or she'll self-destruct. Then Azuma walks in like the school's budget Prince Charming. He tells Mie to hold out her hand and drops a bag of sweets into her palm as a White Day return gift. Mie's soul leaves her body because resisting sweets is not in her skill tree. As she tries to sneak a candy into her mouth, Komura swoops in like a diet police officer and stops her. Mie uses the "I can't see without my glasses" excuse even though they both know she's being sneaky. Komura realizes that she's doing it on purpose. He finally pulls out his own chocolate and tells her to eat his first. Mie takes a bite and starts making adorable happy noises. Komura blushes uncontrollably, unsure if he should feel proud or terrified. Next day, Komura finds Mie staring intensely at a flyer. It's a point card for free sweets that expires tomorrow, and she needs to mail it today. But she's never been to the post office in that area and she's basically blind without her glasses. Komura offers to take her, and she happily agrees. Just then, Komura's friends invite him to try a new arcade. He really wants to go but declines because he already promised Mie. Mie overhears and immediately enters overthinking mode. In class, she keeps replaying it and eventually tells Komura that she'll go to the post office alone. Komura panics because she's not wearing glasses. She lies and says she's wearing contacts. During reading time, she jams her face into the book like usual, and Komura realizes that she lied. She gets stuck on a word and forces a cough to cover it up because she doesn't want Komura to cancel his plans for her. Later, her friends offer to walk her to the next classroom, but she refuses because she wants to prove she can totally walk alone. She immediately gets lost, internally crying, but stubbornly keeps going. When Komura finds her, she pretends she's fine, but after he comforts her, she breaks and admits she can't see anything and she lied because she didn't want him to skip the arcade for her. She also admits that she loves when he helps her a little too much, and it makes her want him all to herself. Hearing this, Komura's entire soul melts into the floor. He ends up walking her to a closer post box near her home. There, she asks why he likes arcades, and Komura says he enjoys places where no one bothers him, which is ironic because he's currently bothered by blind love. After dropping Mie off at her house, Komura heads to the arcade to meet his boys while mumbling to himself that he kind of wants Mie all to himself too. A few weeks pass and suddenly it's the opening ceremony for the new school year. Komura blinks once and realizes the entire previous year speedran itself because he spent most of it simping for Mie. He looks back at her and she's barely awake. The principal announces the students with perfect attendance, and both Komura and Mie get called. Komura then realizes Mie always looks like she's frowning because she's trying to see, but everyone else probably thinks she hates life. He decides he must protect her from being misunderstood, so he tells her there's a relaxation pressure point on the palm. After several failed attempts to locate it, she asks him to do it. it for her. But Komura gets too absorbed in how absurdly soft her hands are and forgets how hands even work. She sees him glitching and tells him to think of something fun like flapjack octopuses, because clearly that's what normal people say. Komura releases her hand and realizes that she'll be Finn. Everyone will eventually see how cute she actually is. His name gets called, he walks on stage, gets the certificate, and internally replays all his wholesome moments with Mia like a Netflix recap reel. Then Mia gets called up, and Komura realizes last year flew by because it was basically a rom-com montage starring his desperate self. A few days later, new seats are assigned. Komura prays that Mia gets someone helpful beside her. He gets tossed into the back row again while Mia ends up in the front next to Azuma, which immediately gives Komura the "my crush is sitting next to the school's main character" anxiety. Mia asks Azuma where Komura sits, and he tells her that he's in his usual back row exile. Before she can head there, a girl tells her she's in the wrong seat. Azuma gently takes her hand and guides her to her actual desk, causing Komura to temporarily stop breathing. The girl next to him even offers him water, but he's too busy crying in silence to hear her. Mia ends up sitting beside Somiya, and Komura relaxes since Somiya will probably help her. But then Mia starts staring back at him. Komura panics so hard he attempts small talk with the girl next to him for the first time in his life. The girl immediately stands up, walks to Mia, and says she also can't see well and wants to switch seats. Mia happily agrees, and finally she gets placed right next to Komura again. When he asks why she didn't stay in the front, Mia casually explains she can't sleep there. She also says she'll get in trouble if she keeps turning around to look at him, but Komura has too few brain cells to realize that she meant she likes looking at him. A few days later, art class pairs them up to draw portraits. Mia forgot her glasses again, so she has to basically press her face into Komura's soul to see him. Since she can't draw this close, she asks if she can draw what she imagines he looks like instead, and Komura agrees. She draws a potato, a literal potato. Komura treasures it like it's Picasso. He wants to take it home, but the teacher says it'll be stored in the school's collection room. Later, in the restroom, Somiya appears and Mia has to lean inches from her face to see who it is. Somiya compliments her eyelashes and skin, causing Mia to panic and flee. Komura later finds her deep in thought. When he says, "Hi," she reflexively jumps close to see him, but suddenly remembers Somiya's comment and instantly backs away, blushing, making his whole system dysfunctional. A few days later, Komura sprints home like his life depends on it because he accidentally took Mia's glasses with him. We learn that while Mia was leaving school with friends, got distracted, and forgot her glasses. Komura returned to class, saw them, and panicked like they were a bomb. He texted her. She said he could just leave them, but since it was the weekend, he asked if he could take them home for safekeeping, and she agreed. Now he's acting like he smuggled the entire girl into his house. He dodges his mom, runs to his room, and places the glasses on his shelf like a sacred relic. He tries studying but keeps imagining Mia sitting on the shelf watching him. He rotates the glasses to face the wall because he's being watched by imaginary Mia. He almost tries them on, then calls himself a degenerate and puts them down. Meanwhile at home, Mia uses her backup glasses and suddenly wonders if the pair Komura has might have fingerprints on them. She has zero clue that Komura already polished them cleaner than a museum exhibit. Then Mia calls him and Komura vibrates like a dying washing machine as he picks up. She thanks him for looking after her glasses and jokes that he probably didn't inspect them closely anyway. Komura nearly dies because he absolutely did inspect them closely after certain activities. She says having her glasses at his house feels like she's visiting him. Komura immediately imagines her sitting on his desk again and spirals. He finally tries to sleep but can't because he keeps hallucinating Mia sitting on furniture like Annabella. A few days later, Mia arrives without glasses and dips her face into Komura as usual. Now bro is used to it. What he's not used to is her tripping and falling directly into his arms. She apologizes, unaware that Komura is now experiencing a medical emergency. She then casually mentions she once almost bumped her forehead into someone, and another time her lips almost touched the person she leaned into. Komura explodes inside until she clarifies that she meant her dad. She quickly explains that it happened a long time ago and that too when she was little and never again. Komura realizes that she's embarrassed too because they were indirectly talking about kissing. Later, Asuka tells Mia that her hair looks bad today. Mia instantly becomes self-conscious as she can't even see her hair properly without her glasses, so she decides to run to the washroom to check a bigger mirror. Asuka tells her that it's fine and class is starting soon, but the thought of weird hair keeps haunting her soul. Komura watches like a wildlife documentarian and concludes that she won't calm down until someone confirms she looks fine. Right then, Mia turns to him and asks, "Does my hair look weird?" Komura nearly collapses but manages to tell her she looks perfectly normal. She relaxes instantly, and Komura internally screams because she actually asked for his opinion. A few days later, Mia notices Komura rubbing his own shoulders like a stressed grandpa. When she asks what's wrong, he says his shoulder is stiff. Mia immediately slides close and says she's good at massages. Komura panics because he's not built to handle physical contact from women. He's built to stare at them from across the room. She insists, saying both her parents love her massages, so Komura reluctantly agrees because he doesn't want to make her sad. Mia starts working on his shoulder, and Komura almost detonates. After finishing, she notes it down in her little notebook because she's keeping track of all the things she can do for him even when she forgets her glasses. A few days later, Mia arrives in class and finds Komura asleep. She leans in to wake him but gets distracted. This is the first time she's seen him sleep up close. She stares for way too long, gets comfortable, and eventually tries to hold his hand. Komura wakes up mid-attempt, blushes like crazy, and Mia jumps back explaining that she just wanted to see him properly since she's wearing her glasses today. Now she's embarrassed to even be near him. She suggests he look at her too, but Komura refuses. On another rainy day, Mia was walking to school with an umbrella when she bumps into Komura. She tells him she forgot her glasses again, and rain makes it even harder to see. Immediately after bragging she's focusing on the road, she still steps in a puddle and ruins her shoes. Once in class, she asks Komura to look away for a second. He turns, and she instantly takes her soaked socks off. Komura turns back and accidentally gets a full view of her bare legs, so silky he almost passes out. He immediately whips his head toward the window before someone else stands up. Mia tells him he can look now, but Komura claims he'll be admiring the rain today to avoid little Komura to wake up. Later, he was walking home when he finds Mia alone at a park. Before he can gather the courage to speak, she tells him that she forgot her house keys and is waiting for her mom. She then asks him to push her on the swing. Komura stands behind her trembling because he has never touched a woman in his life. He worries if pushing a girl on a swing before marriage is morally acceptable, but eventually does it. As she swings happily, he suddenly realizes that she might be exposed from the front. He slams the swing to a stop, hovering over her like a malfunctioning gargoyle. Mia looks straight up at his face, making him panic. When he explains, she casually lifts her skirt a bit to show she's wearing shorts underneath, and bro just remembered his ancestors. That night, Mia accidentally calls his number instead of Asuka's. She apologizes for waking him, but Komura lies that he was totally awake, even though he was absolutely drooling on his pillow. She calls again by accident. This time Komura offers to help. She explains that she's at Asuka's house for a sleepover, can't find her glasses, it's dark, and she's terrified because they watched a horror movie. She asks him to sing something to calm her nerves. Komura produces the most cursed lullaby ever recorded, but it gets the job done. Suddenly he hears his mom walking outside, so he hides under his blanket like a guilty teenager. Mia assumes he abandoned her until Komura whispers into the mic again, accidentally sounding romantic enough to make her explode. After using her flashlight to find the bathroom, she whispers his name before muting herself, causing Komura to fall out of his bed. After she returns, she thanks him and hangs up. A few days later, Komura runs into Mia eating ice cream outside school. She asks him to keep it a secret. The sunlight hits her perfectly and Komura gets stunned like a medieval peasant seeing a goddess. He notices the word win on her ice cream stick and grabs her hand instinctively to stop her from throwing it away. He immediately freaks out for touching her, but explains she won a prize. She asks if he likes winning that much. He says yes, so she just gives him the stick and runs off. Komura holds it like it's Excalibur and debates whether to cash it in or pass it down to future generations. A few days later, Komura was wandering the school when he sees a cat and starts following it for absolutely no reason. The cat leads him behind the building, where he sees Azuma with a girl, clearly a confession scene. So Komura hides behind a tree, pretending he's invisible. The cat meows at him, exposing his hiding spot. Worse, he sees Mia walking over while also meowing like a confused Pokemon, trying to find the cat. Mia keeps meowing until the cat rubs her feet, and only then realizes she found it. Because without her glasses, she couldn't see the cat even when it was literally touching her. Mia gets distracted by the confession happening nearby, but luckily the cat prevents her from wandering right into it. Komura, watching all this from behind a tree like a suspicious forest spirit, wonders what Mia would say if he confessed to her. But before he can finish that thought, Mia starts walking straight toward the confession zone again. Komura panics and yanks her into his arms, right as the girl confesses to Azuma with the legendary, "I like you." Komura just stands there holding Mia like a malfunctioning idiot while Azuma politely rejects the girl, saying he likes someone else. Mia realizes Komura just saved her from third-wheeling a breakup in 4K. And at that moment, Komura decides he will confess to Mia one day, preferably without having a heart attack. A few days later, the class is told to form groups for the field trip. Komura keeps staring at Mia, who's already grouped up with Asuka and Meiho. His friends notice him staring like a budget CCTV camera and tell him to join Mia's group since she'll probably forget her glasses again. Komura suddenly realizes everyone sees him as Mia's walking, talking guardian, which is accurate because he's always escorting her through life like a lost Skyrim companion. He wants to group up with her, but he's too scared to ask. Then it hits him, they can make a group of 6. His friends agree instantly because of course they want to be in Komura's romance side quest too. On the other side, Mia was staring at Komura just as much. Asuka tells her to remember her glasses since they'll be outdoors. Mia claims she has a plan. When asked what, she confidently says, "I'll bring a spare pair," like she just solved world hunger. Then Asuka asks if she wants to invite Komura since she's been sneaking glances at him the whole time. Mia immediately blushes and admits she wants to go with him, without realizing Komura and his friends are right behind her hearing everything. Asuka walks over to Komura and bluntly says, "Mia forgets her glasses, spends too much money on outings, and gets lost instantly. So we're counting on you." Mia apologizes for Asuka exposing her whole life, saying Komura never even agreed to join them. But Komura squeaks out that he was actually here to ask if he could join. Mia beams with joy and says she'd be happy to have him. him. They all sit together to plan, and Mia tells Komura she can't wait to go because she feels safe around him. Hearing this, Komura's heart instantly does a double backflip. That night, Mia packs her spare glasses and tries to sleep, but she keeps thinking about how people might think she's slow or clumsy, so she vows not to cause too much trouble for Komura tomorrow. Then she tries sleeping again but ends up thinking about Komura until 3 a.m. like a hopeless romantic gremlin. Next morning, Komura dashes into class apologizing for being late because he couldn't sleep either. Being excited does that to him. Mia sprints in right after showing everyone that she broke her glasses on the way, but proudly announces she has her spare. Asuka says the only things left to avoid now are getting lost and wasting money. Mia looks at Komura and says she's excited for today. Then Asuka reminds her she once wasted money on a fake pair of glasses because they looked cute. Mia checks her bag and realizes she brought that same fake pair again, but she says nothing out of embarrassment. At the museum, Komura instantly realizes she can't see a single thing. She's just nodding at walls like a tourist with brain lag. He wants to help but doesn't want to embarrass her. Then she trips straight into his arms like a rom-com god just blessed them. Komura quickly distracts her by showing her a simple exhibit that she can see. She immediately realizes that he knows she can't see well today, and sadness hits her like a truck-kun in reincarnation anime. She tells him to go ahead and enjoy the museum while she figures things out. Komura gives her space and walks off, dying inside. Later, outside, Mia gets separated from everyone and sits alone, spiraling into sadness. Komura finds her using her live location like a concerned husband, and she apologizes non-stop, saying she keeps causing trouble for him. Komura reassures her, but she breaks down crying, saying she can't do anything without needing him. Komura sits beside her quietly because he can't bring himself to admit that helping her out is the highlight of his entire existence. Finally, he tells her something he's never said before, that he wishes every day she forgets her glasses. She looks at him confused. He leans in closer and says it's because he loves helping her, and she doesn't need to feel bad relying on him. Later that day on the way home, Komura spirals again because Mia hasn't spoken to him since he said that. He wonders if maybe she thinks he is a pathetic creep who enjoys her helplessness and hates him now. Mia suddenly tells Komura that he's way too nice, and he notices her hand resting gently on his. She says his words from earlier made her really happy, and just like that, all of Komura's fear that she hates him evaporates instantly. Next day, Mia forgets her glasses again, but this time it's because she's been thinking non-stop about Komura's kind words. Determined not to depend on his kindness anymore, even though he said he doesn't mean, she pulls out single-use contacts like she's preparing for battle. Komura arrives and awkwardly apologizes for saying weird stuff on the trip, but Mia tells him not to worry because she's going to try being more independent. She forces herself to wear the contacts even though they feel like tiny jellyfish in her eyes, and Komura was weirdly proud of her. Later, Asuka notices Mia acting extra paranoid about forgetting her glasses and tells her to chill because Komura likes helping her. Then Mia gets a text from Yasaka, Komura's friend, and turns tomato red. Asuka leaves quietly. Mia spends the rest of the day wondering what love even is, then gives up because her brain hits a 404 error mark. On the way to the teacher's office, she runs into Komura, who compliments her for getting used to contacts. Mia admits she likes being independent, but she likes it even more when he helps her. She places her hand on his cheeks and asks him to look at her so she can look directly into his eyes. Komura blushes really hard that Mia notices and runs off in a panic. On her way home, she admits she'd be really happy if Komura thought she was his someone special. Next morning, Mia forgets her glasses. I mean, at this point it might be safe to assume that she is doing this on purpose. When Komura asks if she wants to share books, she happily agrees and brings her desk closer. Komura blushes because her ponytail looks criminally adorable. Then she suddenly leans into his face. He jumps back asking why, and she mischievously says she just wanted to see his face better. After she walks away grinning, Somiya walks up to Komura and asks if he was kissing Mia. Before Komura could have an aneurysm, a classmate clarifies that Mia does that every day, and Komura is relieved but also terrified people think he's lip-locking in class. Mia enters the room as Komura groans in panic. When she asks what's wrong, he pretends to be sick. She pulls out a mask for him, and Komura quickly puts it on so he doesn't have to explain the truth. He then tells her not to get too close or she'll catch his illness, but she ignores him and keeps staring at him with a soft smile. She leans into his face all day like an affectionate lover, and Komura was sweating bullets because Somiya kept watching them like a fan in the audience. During PE, Somiya tells him she's never experienced dating stuff before, so seeing him and Mia so close was exciting. She asks again if he really didn't kiss Mia, not realizing Mia was standing nearby hearing everything. Distracted, Mia steps on a ball and fell down. Komura and the girls rush her to the nurse's office. Mia thanks Komura for coming along, though he didn't exactly have a choice as Asuka shoved him in. Komura was still thinking about Somiya's dating stuff comment and was blushing nonstop. Mia asks what he does on weekends. Komura says he goes to the arcade and plays. Mia replies that she's only allowed to go with her dad, revealing she's a heavily protected daddy's princess. She adds that they barely talked today because she was with Somiya the whole time, and Komura realizes he unintentionally neglected her. Then she asks if she can look at his face up close at least once a day because she can't function without it. Komura, the human embodiment of social anxiety, doesn't understand at first, until he sees her blushing, so he finally agrees. He even says she can look at as much as she wants. She takes this literally and cups his face with both hands, examining him like a treasured figurine, and Komura nearly self-combusts from increasing temperature of his body. After class, they do cleaning duty. When Mia puts the broom in the closet, her hair gets caught in the door. Komura tells her and she immediately tries yanking it out, asking him to get scissors. Komura panics like someone asked him to choose between oxygen and Mia. He finally volunteers to cut her hair himself, trying to reduce damage. In the middle of this, Mia asks if he likes her hair long, but Komura was too busy not messing up her hairs to answer. Next day, Mia was tying her ponytail when the rubber band slips, and Komura picks it up. She asks him to do her hair, but Komura says that he's inexperienced, and she tells him there's a first time for everything. Komura styles her hair with trembling hands while Mia smiles happily the whole time. Afterward, she checks her pocket mirror and says she wishes it could be like this every morning. Komura asks if she wants him to style her hair at school, but she says no, hinting she wants him to do it at home. Later, during cultural festival prep on a rainy day, Mia approaches him with ink all over her hands and asks for tissues. She then tells him they should take a break together once he's done. She even helps him apply glue, but she's so slow that the glue dries before she even sticks the paper. Komura suggests he applies the glue and she presses it down. She ends up gluing the page to her own hand. Mortified, she asks him to call her only when everything's ready and runs back to her friends. Komura realizes she wanted to take the break with him specifically. As he heads to get more glue, Mia runs after him saying she wants to go with him too, and both start blushing. At the art room, she immediately closes the door behind them and says she hasn't looked at his face today. Komura nearly faints because they were completely alone now. He suggests doing this somewhere else, but she insists she wants to look at him privately. He eventually gives in, and she studies his face tenderly. Komura realizes he might actually be special to her. Returning to class, Azuma tells Komura to wipe the ink off his face. At the same time, Meiho tells Mia to clean the ink off her hands too. Dude, why am I smiling? Komura panics trying to explain they weren't doing anything weird, but Azuma just smirks and pretends not to know, just like us. That night, Komura's mom suggests that he should get his ears pierced. He refuses because she already made him dye his hair and now he looks like a budget pop star. Next day, he thinks piercings would only look good on people like Somiya or Azuma. On his way to class, he finds Mia face down on the floor. She says she dropped something tiny. It's a bead. Komura wonders if her ears are pierced and imagines how cool she'd look with earrings. During the lecture, they share desks and Komura leans in to check her ears. She looks back and he jumps like a guilty snail, pretending to be normal. In art class, Mia shows him the bead. It's part of her festival project. She's super talented with crafts while Komura was drawing a purple potato because he had zero art skills. She holds a sewing needle up and asks if people pierce ears with this. Komura says no, they use a piercing gun. Mia admits she likes piercings but is scared of the idea of punching a hole in her ear. Komura then tells her that his mom wants him to get pierced too. Mia puts the bead against his ear and says it might actually look good on him. Komura instantly blushes like strawberry milk. That night, Komura researches piercing guns online as if Mia's comment rewired his entire life path. A few days later, the students decorates the class for the festival. Mia tells Asuka that she has to be home before 6 or her parents would get mad. She won't even be allowed her morning cocoa otherwise. Then she sees Somiya teasing Komura about kissing her and Mia nearly dies of embarrassment. Mia suddenly tells the group she'll stay at school until 7 p.m. Komura's brain immediately wonders, is she doing this to spend more time with me? Then he slaps himself mentally because even he knows that thought sounds too delusional for someone with his zero riz level. He asks Mia to help him attach name tags to the art pieces. But when the clock hits 6 p.m., he checks on her. Mia nervously admits her curfew is 6, so Komura speeds through their work like a man trying to defuse a bomb. After finishing, Komura leaves to grab some water and spots Mia's phone on the floor with a ton of missed calls from her mom. At that exact moment, Mia walks in looking for Komura. He panics and hides behind the curtain so she won't worry or thank him. Mia sees the missed calls, panics, and runs home. Komura feels like a sad abandoned puppy but decides to follow her at a distance to make sure she gets back safely. At the lockers, she struggles to find her shoes without glasses and gives up. Instead, she went home wearing her gym shoes. Komura retrieves her real shoes from her locker and takes them to her house. On the way, he hears Mia crying in front of her door, worrying she's going to get chewed out by her parents. Komura initially leaves her privacy, then turns right back around and rings the doorbell. He lies to her mom, saying he accidentally wore Mia's shoes because they have identical pairs, claiming the delay home was his fault, not hers. He hands over the shoes and leaves, feeling awkward but relieved because he saved her from getting scolded. Next morning, Mia actually wears her glasses and mentions they fogged up while she drank her morning cocoa. Komura celebrates internally because that means his lie successfully protected her and he wasn't outed as a creepy stalker following her home. Later, Komura reads her written assignment about recent happenings. She mentions wasting all her money on crane games trying to win a mascot, coming home late, getting cocoa banned by her mom, and her dad vetoing that decision because he wants his daughter happy. Komura looks at her art for the festival and bows down inside because she's a creative goddess. He then sees her staring at his own art, a miserable pink blob that looks like a depressed purple potato, and nearly passes out from shame. During the festival presentation, Mia sneaks out of the auditorium and Komura follows her, only to find her sitting outside alone. She sees him and invites him him over, saying it feels weird seeing the school empty during the day. She mentions reading his recent events paper and says she likes how he carefully chooses his words. Komura, trying to be smooth, says he read hers too and liked it, but Mie thought that he's mocking her. Then suddenly she grabs his face and pulls him closer. Komura almost screams because someone might walk out. She calmly says everyone is in the gym, but Komura nervously tries to argue that she doesn't need to get close since she's wearing glasses today. This triggers Mie's insecurity. She asks if she's been too demanding or spoiled. Komura denies it and finally asks why she even wants to look at him so much. Mie tells him that his face calms her down. Then she admits she's been getting carried away and will stop looking at him so much. Komura's heart disintegrates hearing these words. He quickly tells her that she doesn't need to hold back. He doesn't mind. Realizing he's being a coward, he finally mans up and says he also likes looking at her. Then he places his hand on her cheek. Mie smiles warmly, accepting his affection, and Komura instantly tears up. She tells him he's kind of like a dad because he's so protective and caring, and Komura immediately collapses internally because he is tired of being called daddy. Mie remembers they're skipping the festival but says it's fine as long as she's with him. After the festival, Komura fills out a survey about his future. Mie asks if he wants to be a gamer. Komura refuses to admit his dreamlessness because he thinks she'll call him a loser, even though he absolutely is. Since he won't share, Mie shows him her childhood graduation album. In it, she wrote that she wanted to marry her dad. Komura nearly flatlines. She shows him a picture of herself as a kid, then suddenly gets self-conscious when she realizes she's exposing childhood photos to a teenage boy. He asks about her current dream, and she says she wants to own a pet fish. Komura relaxes because she's just as clueless about the future as he is. Then she says she still wants to get married, but not to her dad anymore. Komura immediately wonders who the future husband might be. She says she's practicing to be a good wife and shows him a picture of omuris she cooked. Komura mistakes the doodle on top for a hidden message and asks if she drew a hand, making her shut down out of embarrassment. That night, Komura checks his own preschool album and finds out his dream was to work a boring 9 to 5. He starts spiraling about how tiny and loserish his life goals were. At dinner, his mom makes omuris. He tries to replicate the doodle Mie drew on hers, but his mom immediately calls it a maple leaf, exposing him. Komura gets embarrassed and realizes why Mie freaked out earlier. As he eats, he wonders what Mie's omuris tastes like. He imagines her as his wife cooking for him and questions if that is his dream. Next day, he gets the post-graduation career form and writes, "I want to become Mie's husband." Right as he erases it, Mie walks in and sees the word husband, asking which poor girl he plans to ruin. Komura lies horribly, saying, "It could be anyone." Mie gets upset and sits down, clearly hoping he'd say her name. Later, in class, Mie is paired with Azuma and friends for cooking. Komura burns with jealousy as Mie and Azuma stand close together. But secretly, Mie was asking Azuma how to make a cookie shaped like an arcade token because she knows Komura likes arcades and wants to make him happy. Yasaka suddenly tells Mie that an arcade token cookie might bum Komura out because the last time he went to the arcade, the machine was broken. Komura overhears and wants to disappear because his friend is exposing his entire failure history. Mie asks what Komura is like at the arcade, and Yasaka says Komura zones out completely and plays lots of crane games for snacks, which he always gives to his mom. Yasaka says Komura seems fine now, so Mie continues her cookie coin project. Azuma teases her for being slow even with glasses, making her pout and him laugh. She notices Azuma is baking a bird and asks why. Azuma says it's for the lady who lives next door and he wants to confess. Mie asks why he's oversharing, and Azuma says he has no chance unless he tries. After class, Mie says goodbye to Azuma politely. Komura sees this and concludes his romantic chances are dropping faster than your trading loss. Overwhelmed by the emotional roller coaster, Komura tries to run away like a cowardly NPC, but Mie chases after him and suddenly grabs his hand because she was struggling to breathe. Komura instantly switches into emergency boyfriend mode and rushes to get her water from the vending machine. When she finally cools down, she says she's glad she had her glasses today, otherwise she wouldn't have found him, though she still thinks she's slow because Azuma said so. Komura internally screams because he does not want to talk about Azuma. He tries to escape again, but Mie pulls out a pouch full of the cookies she baked earlier. Komura's mood instantly skyrockets. She shyly admits she made them coin-shaped for him, then immediately insults herself for being slow. Komura goes on a full monologue about how he actually prefers her slowness, and they both end up blushing like romantic tomatoes. That night, Komura remembers seeing Mie's childhood picture and decides to check his own. But every picture was embarrassingly goofy, so he hides them inside his notebook like a federal crime proof. Next day, he accidentally drops one photo right at Yasaka's feet, and Yasaka picks it up and immediately shows it to Mie. She can't see it because she forgot her glasses today too, so Yasaka explains it's a photo of Komura's childhood falling off the bars and crying with a nosebleed. Asuka notices he used to have black hair, and Mie gets flustered and smashes her face into the picture, accidentally touching it with her lips. Suddenly Komura doesn't hate that picture anymore. After class, Mie asks Komura to walk home with her again, Outside, Mia asks if he wants to stop by the park, but before he can respond, she tells him to wait by the bars while she grabs her glasses from home. While she's gone, Komura remembers how he fell off the bars last time and decides to reclaim his dignity. When Mia comes sprinting back, she asks if she can see the picture again, but he left it in his desk, so she gets sad and decides he can recreate it. Komura agrees and Mia whips out her phone ready to capture it, and Komura hits a full flip like an athlete. She claps in awe, feeling the Sigma energy radiating off him. As he holds his pose, she snaps a selfie with him and tells him she'll send it only to him, no sharing allowed. Komura melts on the spot. Mia hands him her glasses and tries to do a flip herself but gives up in 2 seconds. When she takes the glasses back, she notices Komura has a nosebleed from catching a glimpse of her thighs. Next day, Mia shows up wearing her fake fashion glasses. Since they're useless, she asks Komura to try them on. He blushes because she was literally just wearing them, but she assures him they aren't dirty. She asks him to take a selfie wearing them and send it to her, but he refuses to do it in public. Mia tells him to take the glasses home and snap the picture whenever he wants. As she searches her bag for a case, she finds her actual glasses. She puts them on and looks at Komura, clearly happy she can see him properly again. Later in class, Komura was intoxicated by the fragrance of Mia's hair. Then Meiho starts styling Mia's hair into pigtails, and Komura's soul leaves his body from sheer cuteness overload. He can't stop staring, not even in swim class. Mia hesitates to put on her swim cap, not wanting to ruin her pigtails, but eventually does. Yasaka warns Komura to stop staring before he gets arrested. Later during lunch, Komura notices rice stuck in Mia's hair. When he points it out, she gets annoyed and takes her pigtails down, making Komura emotionally collapse like a sad Jenga tower. Later, she sleeps on his book and her damp hair soaks the pages. When she wakes up and sees it, she apologizes and starts tying her hair again. She stops when she catches him staring and asks Meiho to do her hair instead. Komura realizes that she already knows how much he likes her pigtails. On the way home, she asks what kind of fish he likes. He says salmon and she says she likes lumpfish but octopuses are her favorite. Suddenly she goes quiet and looks sad. Komura panics, thinking she's bored because she's with him instead of Asuka and Meiho. Then she asks what kind of clothes he likes, but before he can answer, she says she'll figure it out herself and walks off. As Komura turns to leave, he hears a boy talking to Mia. She leans close to see him because she's blind, and he introduces himself as Eiji, her old classmate. Komura hears this and becomes depressed instantly. Next day, she forgets her glasses again, so Komura joins desks. She tells him that she ran into an old classmate yesterday but can't remember his face because she never wore glasses back then either. Komura spirals, wondering if Mia would someday forget his face too. Later, he helps carry supplies, and a classmate tells him that she's struggling with contacts. When Komura asks if she ever forgets to put them in, she instantly guesses he's talking about Mia and says he acts like her dad. She also warns that Mia might suddenly stop forgetting her glasses one day. After class, the teacher reminds them to prepare for entrance exams. Mia asks Komura to walk home again and suddenly realizes they won't be able to hang out much after summer because exams are coming. Komura adds that he'll be out of town during break too and asks her not to forget her glasses then. She promises that she won't, but he wonders if she'll forget him instead. Next day, Mia says she finally saw the face of her old classmate Eiji and that he used to tease her for forgetting her glasses. She says Eiji is the opposite of Komura because Komura always helps her. Komura wonders what he can do so she never forgets him. Later, he asks Mia to walk home, but they both act awkward. He suggests they should stop at the park. There, Mia tries to do a bar flip but realizes she's not wearing shorts. Swing was also impossible, so she decides to take the slide with him. Both squeeze into the tiny tunnel like two sardines in a can. Inside, Mia asks him to stay with her because it's cozy and Komura nearly ascends to heaven. Then she admits she's been holding back, but since summer break starts tomorrow, she wants to look at his face. She cups his cheeks gently and Komura freezes. She asks him to do the same. Komura also admits he used to be satisfied just helping her, but now his heart wants more. They sit there blushing until Mia asks him to pull out his phone so she can send him the selfie she took. She jokes he looked sweaty, then adds his hands and face are warm too. Komura finally realizes that he has rizzed her enough and now she will remember him after all. As they leave, she asks him not to forget her during break. She turns to leave but Komura grabs her hand. After a nervous internal monologue, he yells that he wants to see her face tomorrow too, making Mia blushes hard. Suddenly, we see a flashback and childhood memories return. Mia was a kid and brought 100 yen for ice cream. Komura tells her that she needed 130 yen, lending her the extra 30. She tells him that Eiji stole her glasses and that is why she couldn't see the price tag, and then little Komura walked her home. She had complained to her dad that Eiji stole her glasses, and her dad assumed that Eiji wanted to marry her. Meanwhile, young Komura vowed to protect her because even then she said that she wants to marry someone who takes care of her. That was the day he fell in love with her, and now they've come full circle, both of them falling in love yet afraid to confess. Will Komura finally confess to Mia? Let me know down below.